Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyeva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaura Bhaktavinda. We're going to read today from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 12, verse number 20. Yetu dharmamritam idam yathoktam parupasate shraddha dhanamat parama bhaktastetiva me priyaha. Those who follow this imperishable path of devotional service and who completely engage themselves with faith, making me the supreme goal, are very, very dear to me. So here, Krishna is talking about the path of Bhakti Yoga, the process of dedicating everything towards His service, towards God. And in religion, it is very common to see that the church or group will say, oh, you should give 10% of your income, and then you're fine, you will go to heaven. 20% or whatever. So this mood is, is still limited according to Vedic standards because everything originally belongs to God. So the standard is to give 100% of whatever we have, time, energy, heart, soul, money, everything, to God, 100%. So this means that someone who's starting in this path will usually, when the head and the heart clicks that, oh, I want to really dedicate my life to love God. That just makes sense. So then that person becomes very, very different. It changes very quickly. I received a query on Facebook recently that there's a mother and she's anxious because she's saying, my son, he has changed so quickly. And now he's becoming very cold with the family, and he's not the same he used to be. So I want to give several guidelines for a parent whose son has taken to this path, or if you have any friend or person you know who's taking this path seriously, and how you can still continue having a nice relationship with them without having it to break, as it usually happens. The idea is that when one takes to this path, this kind of verse explains that one has to fully dedicate oneself to this path. And then God considers that person very, very dear. So this relationship between that practitioner and God becomes very sweet. It starts to be very relishable. And that person who is in the Vedic path, they will be usually very strict in the beginning. And things like, for example, eating meat or being in a place where everybody's drinking and smoking is very unfavorable. And of course, a spiritual practitioner should avoid these things. And well, if the father is used to smoking, drinking, and having all kinds of activities like that are considered in the West just party, well, the son will not be very happy and he will probably not even want to participate. So what can the father or the mother do? Well, let me give you some pointers. One very easy one is to ask your son, please take me to eat prasadam. I want to eat lots of prasadam. And the son will be very happy when you say this magical phrase, because prasadam means food that is offered to God, and whoever eats that food that's offered to God gets a spiritual benefit. So a spiritual practitioner will be very happy to hear someone asking for, please give me spiritual food. And you will receive in return lots of very tasteful dishes and very wonderful sweets made with recipes from India. Very exotic but exquisite, very palatable. And this is something very easy that anyone can do. Anyone who's taking this Vedic path, if he receives this question, oh, please give me prasadam, he will be very happy. So you can try that. Another thing, which I personally consider very valuable, is that if you really love your son and you want to understand what's happening, then that you read Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is a single book that you can get for free online, and you can buy it also in print. And with this book you can get a very nice overview of the Vedic culture, and you will be able to understand for most of your son's activities. Another thing you can do, which is easy, an easy one, is whenever you meet your son, you should ask, please tell me something about Bhagavad Gita, or tell me about Krishna. And he will be very happy to see that. And if you just let him speak for some time and hear what he has to say very carefully, then you will see that the relationship again becomes very nice. The idea is, in the beginning, because we're so used to Western culture, the Vedic path is pretty much from another planet, because it's just totally exotic, different. So if you start to argue and like that, it's not going to help much. But if you just ask questions, if you just set in your mind for the next 20-30 minutes, I'm just going to ask questions. Even if I don't agree, I'm going to say, oh, that seems a little different. Why is it happening like that? So with this mentality of asking questions and approaching your son like that, you will see that he has so many interesting things to say. And if you just listen for a little while and just think about all these things, not that you have to accept them and change immediately or at all, but just listening, just thinking about these things with the heart, and not just one ear and the other, but sincerely, and you will see that the relationship again comes back to a very nice standard. One more thing you can do if you're inclined towards music or the musical activities is to tell your son that you want him to teach you to play a musical instrument from India, or to sing together the names of God, or to take you to a place where people gather together to sing the names of God. All these things, of course, again, it's a cultural shock, it's very weird, and it might appear like from another planet, but it is something that you can immediately do right now, and you can very easily have a nice time with your son. Just it's all based in opening your mind a little bit. Most parents, including my own, they get very fixed into this religion idea that, for example, my parents, they've always been worshiping Jesus. So whenever I would say Krishna, they would cover their ears or get all scared because who is this Krishna, and Jesus is God, and so it becomes a religious fight kind of thing. But if the parent just takes a little less aggressive mood and just take it more like learning another culture, not that Jesus is not God or Krishna is God and Jesus is not, or things like that. No. Just simply take it from the point of view that I am learning about another culture. Just like when you go to China and you see how they do the buildings and how they eat and all these things. In a very similar way, you can approach this Vedic knowledge as a cultural thing, because it is a cultural thing. And if you understand the culture, then you get to understand deeper things about it, and why in the Vedic culture everything is centered around God. Everything. You would be amazed. Even every single activity, like here in Mexico, there's lots of festivals every so often, but none of them are related with God, or very rarely some pilgrimage and like that. And in India, every single festival, even the festival you would never imagine, they're all related in some form or other to God, to remember God or one of His activities in this world in the past, or His devotees or something like that. So the cultural gap is really the problem. And if you just take a little more passive mood and just inquiring, oh, teach me about this culture, teach me what is this process of singing the names of God, give me some prasadam, please bring me Bhagavad Gita, I want to read it. And just read one chapter at a time, slowly, but seeing it as a cultural thing and not so much as a religious fight or someone's going to convert me on all these things, because it's not. It's just another culture, another point of view. You can practice Christianity or the Vedic practice and you can be spiritually successful in both. The only thing is that the Vedic perspective will give a different angle about this world, about life and all these things. So you just think about all these things, it will help you a lot. And your son will be very grateful too, and the relationship will become very sweet. Personally, I have asked my parents to read Bhagavad Gita for years, and I don't think they have even read one page. It's pretty sad, but well, we cannot force anyone, so you have the choice, and you don't have to read it, but I strongly recommend that if you want to understand your son, well, you take this mood of, okay, let me learn about this other culture, at least to understand my own son. If you have any comments or questions, please visit our website, thevedic.way.org. Thank you. Hare Krishna.